All right, let's cut right to the chase. The subject is bad timing and plain bad luck. We need to hit this right now because some of you investors, you may have just had a really frustrating experience this month. I mean, they lowered interest rates, put government rescue packages in place, delivered cash to keep us all going, and that's all good if you got yours. And despite COVID-19 concerns across the country, businesses started opening back up just a few weeks ago. Things have been looking up. And then, even more good news. June 8th, after a nightmare first quarter, the S&P 500 index of leading stocks, can you believe this? It actually got back to even for the year. It did. And with all these positives in the air, well, that's when many investors started buying again. If so, bad news. If you invested on June 8th, talk about a drag. The market then dropped 7% in just 3 days. Yes, from Monday to Thursday, it just got ugly. The short-term vibe changed. And if you're one of those people who invested on June 8th, you're probably not feeling too happy. I mean, a 7% drop in 3 days, that hurts. That's bad luck, right? Well, I want to cheer you up. You think you had bad luck? I'm about to show you what really bad luck looks like. The worst luck imaginable. Yet in spite of it, things work out just fine. Here's another simple, highly instructive statistic, thanks to the American funds. This exercise will blow your mind. Let's pretend we have two next-door neighbors, both investors. One, she's just lucky, crazy lucky. The other one, a walking jinx. This guy always buys on the wrong day. He can't win. So check this out. Over a 20-year period ending in December of 2018, each year our two neighbors, they invest a chunk of money. Mr. Bad Luck, each year he buys the day the market hits its highest point for the year. Literally, he buys at the high. Not once does he do better. No, every single year for 20 straight years, he buys in at the top. Then we have the lucky neighbor. She can't miss. For 20 straight years, without fail, she buys on the day the market hits bottom. 20 years in a row, she buys on the best day possible. You can't do better than that. But how about this? Despite our so-called Mr. Unlucky's terrible timing, they both do great. Over that 20-year period with perfect timing, the luckiest investor, she averages just over 9% per year. Great. But here's the more important fact. The unluckiest investor, he averages just under 7% per year. That's right. They both made a ton of money. Why? Because they deployed money that was earmarked for years down the road. So exactly where they bought in any given year, it didn't matter. Because as we've told you before and so want to hammer home, particularly now with headlines changing from good to bad every day, it's not about timing. It's about time. If you bought on June 8th, it was only bad luck if you were planning on selling on June 11th. Or did you do the right thing and invest your money that day, knowing you were going to give it time? And now let's come back to reality. Nobody always buys at the lowest or highest point, which makes the actual difference between these two investors even smaller. So don't let what happens right after you buy throw you off. Instead, just remember the one important common thread that exists between these two investors. It's what made them both winners. They made a commitment and stayed on plan. They didn't let a little bad luck and short-term timing throw them off. They stayed on plan. Why? Because their plan wasn't for a 3-day ride, but a much longer one. And since they kept reminding themselves of that, for both of them, it all worked out. Granted, future performance, it's not guaranteed, all fair, but the question is, can you stay on plan? Will you stay on plan? Because if you do, you'll create your own luck. One last thing. I know I've heard it before. Some of you retirees, you're thinking, that's a nice story, Jeffrey, but this doesn't apply to me. I'm too old for long-term planning. Well, that's just not true. If you're planning on living a long life, some of your money, yes, even in retirement, it needs to be aiming and working for different points down the road. where you will need maybe more than you need now to take care of you. Your overall allocation, sure, it may be a little different, but your money still needs to be working to support your entire life. So let's get luck out of the way. Let's focus on our goals. And when we need our money, then we won't need luck. Instead, we'll have a plan, and we'll stick to it. Even if we buy on June 8th of 2020, just before we have a downturn that shouldn't really harm us, if we're using our heads and giving it time.